Good morning, everybody. Uh, Today we are taking on Derby shoes, right? You have done Oxford shoe, so you know how to identify and how to do Oxford shoe, don't you? Okay, good. So today we are moving on to the next kind of shoe, or maybe the relatively similar shoe, and that is a Derby shoe. You already know that this is an Oxford shoe, right? In totality, this is what an Oxford shoe looks like. The vamp and the quarter. Very good. Um, Usually, very often, uh, you might not be able to effectively describe a Derby shoe without mentioning Oxford. Vice versa, you can't describe an Oxford shoe without talking about a Derby shoe. The reason is basically to able to separate them because of their body parts. They actually look somewhat alike, not alike per se, but they look somewhat alike. And if you are not a shoemaker, or if it has not been explained to you, you might just mix them up. Now, based on your knowledge of Oxford shoe, I already taught you the arrangement of body parts, which is actually the different, which constitutes the difference between the two of them. For Oxford shoe, you have vamp over the quarter, right? You have closed lacing system because it is actually locked up. You can't open it beyond this, most especially here. It is locked up, and the tongue is entirely a separate piece of material. The opposite is what you have here. This is the vamp, this is the quarter, right? Here, the quarter is sitting over the vamp, right? Sewn on the vamp, right? The tongue is not a separate entity, like in this case, right? Uh, the, the tongue is always an extension of the vamp, right? Whether you see a stitch here making up two materials, because sometimes we can actually cut it here just to save material economics. You can split here, sew it together. It is still considered as one piece of material because it's a straight flow. You can see my hand, Abi. Whether I whether I cut here and join it back, it's a straight flow. Unlike this part, this is the end of this one here, obviously. Then this one starts and ends here. The tongue is not part of them, right? So when you have quarter on top of the vamp, you have the tongue as extension of the vamp, and that two arrangements will automatically result into this kind of lacing system whereby you can open up to here, unlike this one that you can't open beyond here. That is why this is actually called closed lacing construction or system. Why this one is open lacing system, because you can open the entire quarter like this. That's why you hear open lacing. This is closed lacing. It's just as a result of the vamp is locking up the quarter at the base of it. Why here, the vamp cannot actually lock it up because it is not on top, it is underneath, right? Is that okay? Every other thing are most likely going to be the same. Every other thing are going to be the same. This one can have a toe cap. This one can also have a toe cap. This one can have wingtip. This one can have wingtip to it. This one can have extended vamp. This one can also have extended vamp. This one can have counter at the back. This one can have counter at the back. This one can be made into a form of boot, right? This one can also be made in form of boot. So those are the basic difference. So when you look at this one, any shoe that has this kind of arrangement, quarter over vamp, uh, vamp is an extension of the tongue. You see open lacing system there. You know you are most likely dealing with a Derby shoe or a derby related shoe, right? I think that explanation uh, covers you should be able to understand, you should be able to identify it now, right? Without any difficulties. This is most likely the simplest form, just like this is the simplest form that you see, right? You can have something like this, you can even have it here. This can have a toe cap. This one, you see the way the cutter has another piece of material here. This can also have another piece of material just at the eyelet side, this facing. It's just a structural thing. You can do anything you want to do on both of them, right? So, but these are the simplest form. You can have more complicated form, right? The name of the shoe is usually attributed to certain features, but I'm going to limit those features to um, what you be able to see. In this case, the number of eyelets can dictate what name you call the derby shoe, right? Like this is a four eyelet derby because it has four eyelets, right? You can have five eyelet derby, that is five holes on this side. You can have two eyelet derby, that is two holes here. You can have one eyelet derby, that is one hole here. That is another difference. That is another thing that can differentiate a derby shoe from an Oxford shoe. An Oxford shoe will most likely have a maximum of six holes. Usually it will have five holes, but in rare cases you can have four holes, I mean highlights, right? You most likely might not see a three eyelet Oxford, or two eyelets, or one eyelet, right? Because of the structure. But this one can have just one eyelet, that is here and here. Just one. It can have two, can have three, can have four, five, right? Usually you don't see six. But if you start seeing six, then that means you are talking about boots. That way you can have up to seven, eight, depending on how high it's going to be eventually, right? So um, the work we are doing, that we are using as an example, is this, right? It's just a debit shoe, right? But um, it has no, it's just a debit shoe. If you look at it, it's a four eyelet debit, right? And the only difference is the sole and the kind of last that was used. Every other thing is compliance with what we want to learn, right? It's just the shape of the last and the what's it called, and the sole. Other than that, the shoe remains a derby shoe and will forever be a derby shoe. One thing that